Hello, YouTube. It's time to make my wife her lunch, and I thought I'd tell you a little bit about being a house husband because it's kind of stressful. And you would say, Tom, what's so stressful? You don't go to work. Yeah, you might say that. My parents say that. My children say that. Occasionally, my wife says that. I have to get a knife. But it is stressful, and let me tell you about it. What's my number one stressor right now? Probably Duolingo. You know that little owl? I started studying French because we have a trip planned in a few months to go to France, and I said maybe I should learn a few words. And right now, I can say le chat mange l'orange, which I think is not going to be helpful for anything, but that's all I've learned so far. And every morning I get up and there's some animated Duolingo character. It's not just the owl. There's a whole cast of characters, and they're all like giving you a hard time, like, hey, you did good yesterday, but what about today? You don't want that streak to end, right? Also, some of these are not looking so good. You know what else is stressful? When you buy your salad at Aldi and some of the leaves are looking a bit sketchy, and you don't want to give your wife that. Anyway, so yeah, Duolingo and learning French. I only have a few months to do it. You know what else is stressful? Sourdough, right? Like, it seems like a good idea at the time. Your friend gives you some sourdough starter, and you're like, oh, I'm going to make sourdough like those people on the YouTubes. And then, hold on, I'll get it. And then you have this starter, and it sits on your counter. And every morning you wake up like, oh, I got to feed the sourdough because I'm going to make bread. And I'm not really making sourdough bread because my wife, she doesn't eat bread anymore. She's being more healthy and she wants me to be healthy. So every time I, cut some pieces of bread with peanut butter and whatever else, she's like, yeah, there's other things you could be eating. So I have this thing. It's like a kid. You just got to keep feeding it, and it's always there the next day, and you got to feed it again. Luckily, I know how to make sourdough crackers. So usually I'll feed it and take the leftover, make some crackers. And my wife is like, man, you really shouldn't be eating all those crackers. Anyway, like I said, she's trying to be more healthy, which I can appreciate. She watches a lot of YouTube videos, and she's bringing me along for the ride. I also am considering being more healthy. Now, there's things you can do to be less stressful, and one of them is to be organized. So when I make these salads every day for my healthy wife, I've gotten to the habit of having these cute things ready to go. Carrots and cucumbers. Now, I also have beets, and you might have a few questions about that, like who likes beets? And the answer is nobody. And B, why do you have a fancy jar of beets? I thought you canned them because you have seen my video where I jarred a whole bunch of beets. Well, we use those up. Oh, and the lid's not on tight. I think these are Costco beets. I bought a whole bunch of them until I can get back to the grocery store and go through that process of jarring them. Jarring them is actually kind of empowering. And it's almost like could lead to a hoarder mentality because, like, so I'm going to add these beans to my wife's salad. It's another thing that's healthy, I guess. And you go to Aldi and you're like, whoa, those beans were $1.49 last week, and now they're $1.57. 8 cents more. They keep nickel and diming you, and we're like, let's just can around, and we can like 30 things of beans. We bought these giant bags for about nothing, and I say can, but they're in jars, of course. 8 cents doesn't sound like a lot. You could probably go steal a quarter from one of those Aldi carts and get your 8 cents, but it's the principle of the matter. So we did the beans. And then I found this deal on bone. No, it was chicken thighs. They had the bones and the skin. Is a good deal, but I was like, what am I going to do with all these chicken thighs? You could put chicken in a jar and then pressure it, pressure can it, and then stick it on the shelf. It sounds really gross, right? Let me go get a jar. I have a jar somewhere. Hold on. Right? So this is like chicken thighs that I threw into a jar uncooked. Yeah, I just threw them in the jar uncooked and put the lid on and pressure cooked them for a long time under extreme pressure. And now I have it looks kind of gross, right? But it's really quite good. They're super soft. They've been obliterated by the heat. So it has, if you make like chicken salad, it's more like a tuna salad with the consistency, but it's great. So yeah, something about hoarding. Oh yeah, you're just like empowered. It's like, man, maybe I could just fill my closet full of food. And actually, you can, but I mean, how much food do you really need to put away? Anyway, I got jars of scary looking chicken. Okay, anyway, we were talking about beets. Yes, I don't have anything else to say about beets other than they're yucky and they make a mess, and you don't want to get any beet juice on you because then you'll be stained for life. Little tomatoes from Aldi. So one thing that does make your life a lot better is if you have a sharp knife. So every once in a while, I go to Ace Hardware. They have this machine called Resharp or something like that. You can actually go to their website and get a coupon for one free sharpening. I mean, you only get one per email, right? But if you're clever, you might have more than one email address and you can get your sharp knife sharpened. I wouldn't do that. I believe in paying them for the services, but if you need to have if you have a knife that needs sharpening and you don't have $8 on you because you spent it all at Costco on Beets, then it's a strategy, and it's great to have a sharp knife. All right. I also have this device, and you're like, wow, does the magic never end, Tom? What are all these amazing things? This was a Christmas gift from somebody. I'm sorry, I forgot who gave it to us. But open up the jars. All right, so let me rinse these. So right now we have the spring mix, carrots, tomatoes, cucumbers, and beets. Now we're going to add some beans. My wife listens to a lot of YouTube videos, and one of the things they're telling her to eat was beans, and so that's why we do that. And the cool thing is, just like I have all of my vegetables in these little jars to make salad easier, I can have this. If you're organized, I've probably already said this once, the more organized you are, the less stressed you are. So you can focus on things like learning how to say a cat eats an orange. So when I'm lost on the metro in Paris, I can say the cat, the orange. Now, to make it fancy, okay, so this is filled to the brim with brine. Had to pour a little out. Okay, to make it fancy, we're going to use some of this feta from Aldi. The feta price remains stable, unlike the canned beans. In my giant bag of croutons. Pam doesn't really care much for croutons, which I think is crazy. I think croutons are the best part. Maybe it's because Pam's trying to take all the bread out of my diet, so I compensate by putting 7,000 croutons on top of my salad. All right, I think salad dressing. Oh, salad dressing. So this is terrible. Don't let her know I'm doing this because she's given me several healthy recipes for salad dressing that don't involve oil. In fact, I've made some videos if you want to look them up. And I'm being super lazy, and I'm using this Aldi, but I'm only using a tiny bit, really, a real tiny bit. Okay, so she won't know because she won't watch this, right? Oh yeah, tell me about how my day is stressful. Oh yeah, I got a little off track. This whole topic is how stressful things are when you're trying to manage the household. I mean, stress eating my M&Ms. Yeah, it's stress eating. You know, on top of Pam trying to help me eat right, there's all these other little things she does that are funny. Actually, my kid does too. And I'm starting to wonder if my brain is slipping, but I don't know it. Like, she'll say, hey, those sneakers are on the floor. You might trip over them. And I'm like, I'm not going to trip over them. I'm not old. And then she's kind of like, oh, you might. She's a nurse, so she's seen lots of old people get injured by tripping over sneakers. But, even my kid, he's like, hey, Dad, did you mean to leave the oven on? Hey, Dad, are you really intending to go to the grocery store wearing your slippers? So they're looking out for me. I think that's good. But yeah, stressful because you know what happened? My minivan has this backup camera. It was the height of technology back when we bought that minivan decades ago, and I've noticed that it went out. When I put it in reverse, the little camera doesn't come on, which is kind of catastrophic because it's a big van and I don't want to try to navigate the Costco parking lot if I can't see what I'm backing into. So I'm hoping that I turned it off, much like how I fix computers. I turned it off, and when I turn it back on, it'll work. In fact, let's go. Let's go. Because I hear my wife's in a meeting. She works from home, so I'm not going to bring her this right away. Let's go see if the van works. If my son were here, he'd probably be like, do you mean to go out in those slippers, Dad? Oh, geez, I almost tripped. Goodness. All right. The moment of truth. Just turning it off and back on work. So far, so good. This video is brought to you by Toyota and their backup cameras. Oh no, no image. This is a sad state of affairs. All right, I'm going to deliver the salad to Pamela and then continue with my discussion of how stressful things are right now. So if you've seen any of my videos, you know that we aren't allowed to waste things in this household. And I'm kind of perturbed. That some of these leaves are going bad. So, and today's Friday, so no one's going to have a salad tomorrow probably. So we got to use these up. So I'm going to make a smoothie. And I'm going to fish out any bad leaves. Now, if worse comes to worse, and some of this is inedible, then we also have a composter that I could throw it into. A composter because spring's coming up. I need good soil so that I can plant another batch of tomatoes in there and watch them die in the Florida heat. It's a tradition around here. They grow. They're like, we're so happy, we're gonna die. Good start. You know what? Let's use l'orange. It helps to learn language if you like incorporate the words. So yes, l'orange. I'm gonna mange l'orange. I don't know if that's right. French people, correct me in the comments. That smells good, actually. You know, when I smell a fresh orange like this, I think, it smells so good. It smells so healthy. I know this is good for me. I should do this all the time. Sugar. Almond milk provides a lot of the daily requirements of almond, I guess. Of course, Almond Joy candy bars do that too. Hemp Hearts has omega-3. I don't know what that is. Probably good for me though. 1 tablespoon seems like the right amount. Oh, what else can we throw in this? Oh, duh. Have some blueberries and some mangoes here. You're like, wow, Tom, that's an odd thing to have in your fridge. It's a long story. All right. Mush that down. Hopefully there's enough liquid in this thing. Let's let it rip. I guess we need to plug it in. Yeah, need to plug it in. Need some ice. Oh crap, is that on? Pam always tells me that. She feels more relaxed after these afternoon drinks. Guess it's the nutrition. Pamela, you want some of this smoothie? Do you want some of this smoothie? All right. It's Friday, so I can put some rum in it. If Pam's boss is watching, she said no. So I'm like packing these things up, and you know, in some YouTube videos, there's like this weird segue where they're like, it sure is handy to put all your vegetables into easy to arrange containers, much like your finances. That's why I use L'Orange Personal Finance Planner or whatever. I don't know what made me think of that. It just drives my wife crazy. She likes the YouTubes, and she'll be watching her favorite home improvement person talking about putting in drywall, and they'll be like, it's important to have life insurance when you put in drywall. That's why we go with Mutual of Omaha or whatever. That's a very old reference. Actually, I do have my own system of keeping track of all the money I don't have, but it's this complicated spreadsheet because I used to do computer programming stuff. So I'm comfortable with convoluted nonsense. It's part of the fun. So sometimes my wife is like, hey, my coworkers are interested in getting a better handle on their budget. Could you show them your spreadsheet? And I'm like, no, I absolutely can't, because it makes no sense. Hardly makes sense to me anymore. But it does have lots of charts and graphs. If you would like to see episode of how to use Excel and convoluted ways to keep track of your money, then let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll keep this a secret. All right, the official rules that my wife has laid down about making YouTube videos is that the kitchen can't be dirty, so I got to clean this up. Vous aimez les chats? Vous aimez les chats? Hey! Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you French. Vous achetez une baguette tous les jours? Vous achetez une baguette tous les jours? Vous achetez une baguette tous les jours? It said that didn't sound right. Vous achetez une baguette tous les jours? Vous achetez une baguette tous les jours? Let's move on. I need more questions about cats and oranges. Vous habitez ici? Vous habitez ici? Vous habitez ici? Yes! I have several months to figure this out. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this little insight into my stressful life, and I will catch you next time.